What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the overall market moving forward and why Tesla's still looking very, very parabolic for more potential upside moving forward. But before I break down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla and the markets, let's break down how things are looking. So far, Tesla's continuing to push as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. And from a technical standpoint, this actually suggests that Tesla will go all the way up to at least the 264 area. That is looking very probable, at least for the next couple of weeks. But I'm not sure if we're going to go in a straight line up there as we're approaching the 250 resistance first. We'll have to see how Tesla reacts to this before we get all the way up to the 260s. But overall, nonetheless, we are very, very bullish looking. There's more upside for Tesla, and I'll break down more details about this in just a few minutes. Let's first talk about this news. There's been news coming out that Tesla's popped another 6%. This is absolutely incredible considering the fact that Tesla was up 10% yesterday, another 6% today. It's continuing to extend the rally because the mojo is back for Elon Musk. Now, my question is, was the mojo ever gone for Elon Musk, or are people just starting to realize that the mojo was here and it's going to continue to be here at least as time goes on? And what I mean by that is that Tesla had these strong fundamentals, right? Since their big announcement during the shareholder meeting about what Elon Musk was saying with the robo-taxi and the big events, everything was very, very bullish, right? And I've been talking about that on my channel for many, many weeks about why I'm very bullish on Tesla. This was not new news. This was known, okay? But all the AI hype was surrounded by Nvidia. It was surrounded by Amazon and Apple and all the other big tech stocks. Tesla didn't really get its big run. It finally got its run after many, many months, and it's finally time for it to start its turn, right? It's finally starting to run. So the AI hype is finally coming to Tesla. I think that investors started to pay more attention to it after its deliveries reports, seeing that fundamentals were stronger than what most people were expecting. And now these analysts are coming out, like Wedbush is saying, Tesla will outperform the market with the $300 price targets. They're even saying it'll go to $400 by next year. So we're seeing more analysts turning bullish. Eyes are back on Tesla. People are starting to enter, seeing it's running to the 200s. That's very, very ironic because back when it was in the 140s, the 160s, I was calling out this inverse head and shoulders. I was telling you it's a very, very good buying opportunity for months. And if you listened, you'd be up like crazy, right? Not that I'm giving any financial advice. I'm just saying that you could have used this at least for your own knowledge, just that. But if you had known what I was saying, this played out very, very nicely for Tesla. I was correct about this thing running. So it's very awesome to see it running and the potential it has to continue to do so. Deliveries were awesome, not to mention their energy storage data. Very, very awesome stuff. I went over the numbers already. And now the momentum is so strong that Tesla's continuing. That's what we predicted yesterday. There's also some news coming out that Tesla's launching a military purchase program. They have this motto that goes "Made in America for those who served." Very awesome stuff. Why is this awesome? Because they're now offering a $1,000 discount to on all Tesla's models for people who were involved in the military. It's available for veterans, retirees, active duty members, and their spouses. There's no limits on the number of vehicles that they can purchase. Very, very bullish news. Now, what's good about this is going to incentivize more growth for Tesla. A lot of people who are affiliated with the military are going to buy those Teslas at cheaper prices. And this is going to once again continue to help Tesla grow, get those sales up, especially as we approach the end of Q3. On top of all this, I just want to mention that with these discounts that are ranging, it's looking very, very awesome. They have that tagline, "Made in America for those who serve." That's actually very awesome because we're approaching the 4th of July. This is actually a great time to be doing this, and I can't wait to see how this improves their sales. Now, for data, I just wanted to mention that we got some data today. The ISM data was not that great. Business activity is slowing in the economy. The employment sector is looking a little bit lackluster, at least from services. And then for the new orders, this was a little bit below expectations. Forward-looking data is showing the economy is contracting. There's a little bit of weakness here and there. However, services prices did go down, which is a little bit more positive for inflation. You could actually interpret it that way. So I'd say the data was more bad than good, but it wasn't really enough to get the market to slow down. Even though the data wasn't that great, the market continued to get bought up because of, I would say that had more to do with Jerome Powell yesterday. The rally in the market started with him saying that the Fed once again has, they're going to be waiting on data and we're going to be looking for other things like that. So I think that there's a lot of stuff that's going on. We're going to be looking for some very, very nice looking upside momentum in the markets. And I think that there's going to be a lot of excitement, at least for us moving forward. So I think that with the way things are looking, okay, with Jerome Powell continuing to say what he says, kind of fueling the whole soft landing narrative, the market's continuing to pump as we get closer to a potential rate cut. And its interpretation of data is still once again favoring upside. Now, the FOMC minutes also came out. This was aligned with what Jerome Powell said. We actually have it right here. This is very important too. So the Fed is saying that it's not ready to cut rates just yet until greater confidence comes that inflation is going to the 2% goal. This means that the Fed is not ready to cut, but they are going to need a lot more good data, and that is what we're going to be waiting for. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that the stock market closed early for today being Wednesday. For tomorrow, which is Thursday, the market's going to be closed. And for Friday, we have a full open day. So I'll be talking about that later on. Fear is making up the emotion of the market, at least to some extent. Right now, there's a little bit of fear building, but it's not that bad whatsoever. We're still actually very close to neutral. And the reason why there's some fear is because of how high these valuations happen to be. There's still that fear that, hey, maybe something will turn around, but that's not really enough to really shift momentum. The momentum is still very strong for the markets, and we're still holding up. Greed is making up momentum because we're well above our 125 daily moving average. The market is still strong and pumping. Even if there's a little bit of fear building, it's still seeing a lot of bulls stepping in. On top of this, the puts and call option positioning is still at extreme greed. We're currently at this ratio of 0.69. This is significant because we're seeing some calls continuing to dominate, and we're seeing a lot more upside. So it's very, very exciting to see that. Volatility is also neutral, kind of in the middle so far. That's also interesting and worth noting. And then finally, we also happen to have our other changes to the VIX. The VIX is also kind of neutral, kind of lackluster. So we'll have to see how that develops. So that's what I'm seeing right now for the markets. We're seeing a lot more momentum that's building. Market's still holding up. Guggenheim gave Tesla a sell rating. I don't think it's the time to do that, but it is what it is. Goldman Sachs is giving them a neutral rating. Oppenheimer is saying they're going to perform with the markets. And then we had Wedbush that just gave Tesla an outperform rating. So most of these are kind of neutral. Some of them are actually very bullish, not bad whatsoever. The price price ratio is very steep right here. This is the most steep we've seen it in many, many months. In fact, the most steep we've seen in the entire year. Tesla is the strongest it's been since the year started. That's what this is suggesting. And it's very, very heavily outperforming the market. Tesla's building a lot of strength. And like I said before, the AI run for Tesla is starting, right? The AI run already happened for Nvidia and the others. Now it's Tesla's turn. Fridays tend to be green 48% of the time. We'll see if we actually continue. We tend to see more volatility around 10 a.m., around noon, and also around 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then simultaneously, I just want to mention that there is more upside potential, at least from here. And then finally, I just wanted to mention that when you look at volume, we had 167 million in volume. This is actually about twice what we typically get. That is once again awesome. Buyers are stepping in. People are interested in Tesla, and it's continuing to run. And we're also seeing the short volume kind of going up a little bit, not really affecting us too much. So, what do I see for the share price? I think that's the big question in the room. What do I think Tesla's going to do? Like I mentioned earlier, we look very, very bullish as we're seeing a lot more buyers stepping in, a lot more momentum building. So from a technical standpoint, it looks like Tesla wants to go up to the 260s. But for the short term, I'm going to say this. That's like more for the medium term. For the short term, Tesla is going to be testing some key resistance right here at this 250 area. We'll have to see if we could break through this or not. And we favor upside because we have a bullish wedge forming. Let me just fix this for 1 second. So we're looking very, very bullish. Very, very bullish on Tesla, in my opinion. If you look at the chart just like this, you could see it's been uptrending very, very strongly. And we have a lot more momentum for upside. So if we break this 248 resistance and hold above this, I'll be looking for 250. And if that breaks, we'll be looking at 252. If we reject here, we'll be dipping back down towards 240. 244 is going to be our next target if we lose 248. And then I'll be watching 242 as a critical support as well. It's going to be our 20 EMA. If Tesla were to lose the 20 EMA, which is currently at very close to 244, then we'll be dipping all the way down to about 240, and then we could turn a little bit lower. There's no sign of us losing 242 or that range, 242 to 244 quite yet. So we're still more bullish. In fact, we have a bullish wedge that's forming right here. You guys can see this wedge. This suggests that Tesla is going to try to go up to 250 plus and try to break through that, and it's looking more bullish in my personal opinion. So I'll be watching to see how things end up developing. I think that there's going to be a lot more upside as well, and I can't wait to see how things push from here. So we're going to be looking for awesome amounts of upside. So I can't wait to see Tesla push higher. I think we're going to be testing 250 going into the next couple of trading days and eventually 252. So we look very, very bullish. Now, SPY is also in a very, very crazy place. Here's why. When you look at the 4-hour time frame like this, okay, you will see that we managed to break past 550.5. If we hold above this, we're going to be looking for 552, then 555. If we lose 550.5, we're going back down to 548.5. Considering we're holding above resistance, we're looking very bullish in my opinion. And I think there's a very good chance we're going to push even higher from here. So I think 552 is looking very probable. So I think that SPY has more upside, but we need to see if the data that comes out on Friday will align with it. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But from a technical standpoint, it looks like it wants to push higher. As long as we hold above 550.5, we look more bullish. Nvidia has managed to close above 127. That's a bullish signal. If we manage to hold above this, I'll be looking for about 130. If we end up losing support around this 127 area, I'll be looking for a dip towards 124. This is looking more bullish, so I anticipate more upside as a stronger possibility. So it's looking pretty good. For Bitcoin, we're going to be looking for basically this 60,500 area. If that breaks, 61,300 is coming. If you reject off 60,500, we could reject here, but this is looking a little bit more bullish to me. For the QQQ, we're looking very bullish, continuing to break out. As you guys know, we have a nice cup and handle like structure that led to a breakout. We called this out yesterday, and we need to hold above 490. If we fail to do so, look at 488, then 486. If we hold above 480, sorry, not 48, 488. If we hold above 490, excuse me, guys, then we're going to be going all the way up to 492, then 494. We look bullish, like we want to be pushing to at least 492. So this chart looks more bullish to me. For Apple's breaking out. We're going to be looking at 222 as key resistance. If we break that, we could continue to pump, but we have to hold 220 first. I want to see us hold 220 at least. So far, we look more bullish. For a few more, I'm going to call out Palantir. Palantir looks a little bit lackluster compared to the markets. I think that there's a very, very good time for this to actually dip towards this 20 EMA at 25.56. If we dip down there, we'll have to see if we bounce off there or not. That's going to be a very, very key level. If we lose this, we'll be dipping all the way down to 25. So watch and see if we get that bounce. For Super Micro, we have this resistance approaching over here at this trend line. So watch for a big test going to the next couple of days at this 845 area. Maybe it depends on the timing. If we reject here, we're going to go back down to 800. If we break through this, we're going up to 880. So watch this trend line of resistance on Super Micro. For Rivian, excuse me, Rivian may dip all the way down towards 14.18. If we bounce off this, we're going to go higher. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping all the way down towards 13.5. I see a little dip coming, and watch and see if we get a bounce off our 20 EMA at 14.18 or not. Watch for that. SoFi is kind of lackluster. It's only moving like in increments of 10 to 20 cents, not really doing much. I think it's going to push a little higher for about 6.54. If we break that, we're going up to 6.6. If we reject, we're going all the way back down to about 6.38. Overall, it's looking a little bit more bullish in my personal opinion. For others out there, I think that the IWM Russell 2000 has resistance at 202. If this breaks, we're going all the way up towards 203 plus. If we end up losing 201, we're going to be dipping down to 199. We're going to be looking for a big test. The problem I see with the IWM is we're completely sandwiched between these EMAs. It's been like this for 4 hours. The last 4 hours of the day were like this. We'll see if we break 202 or if we lose 201. We're kind of in the middle, so I'm going to give this some time just to see how things kind of roll from here. For AMD, we're kind of shuffling right now. There is a slight risk of it dipping down to 162, but I need to see it lose 163 first. But overall, it's still kind of shuffling. It's still kind of stuck, so it's not really doing much. So I'm not going to say much for that. Still kind of stuck. ARM might actually come down a little bit. It might actually dip towards 166 and try to bounce. So watch and see if that ends up being the case as it's forming like a cup and handle. So we'll see how things develop from here. For Coinbase is going to likely test this trend line right over here as support. If we bounce off this, we're going to be looking for a big push all the way up to the 230s. If we lose support right here at 222, we're going to be dipping all the way down towards 214. So it's going to be a big test on Coinbase. Look for a little bit of a dip and see if we bounce off the trend line or not. We're approaching some critical support on Coinbase. Amazon's going to be testing 196. If we lose this, we're going down to 193. If we bounce off this, we're going back up to 200. Watch for a test of 196 going to the next few days and see if we bounce or not. Meta is going to be most likely from a technical standpoint testing 508. If that fails, this 505 is coming. If we bounce off this, we're going up to 515. Going to be waiting. It looks like it might actually dip and bounce is the most likely possibility, so I'll be watching for that. Microsoft is pushing nicely. We have 460 as resistance. We will see if this holds or not because 460 is kind of tough for it. So I'm just going to be very patient just to see how this develops. If we break through this, 462 plus is coming, so we'll wait and see. But it's looking decent, so watch resistance and see how we react. If you reject off that, by the way, I'll be looking at 458, so watch 460's resistance. For Google, we have 188 as resistance. If we break this, we're going to go higher towards 190 plus. If we reject, we're going to be coming back down to 185, so we're still looking kind of bullish. For GameStop, if we break past 24.8, we're going to be pushing all the way up towards about 26. If we reject here, we're going to be coming back down. So I do see some more upside potential. For AMC, we're kind of dipping a bit towards about 4.88. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping even lower towards 4.5. I see a little bit of weakness here, but look for a test of 4.88 and see if we bounce or not. For DJT is also looking very interesting to me. It might dip a little bit more towards 30. I've seen them bounce at 29.6 as well, so we might be dipping a little bit more before we try to bounce, but I see a little bit more downside potential. The VIX is very lackluster, just trading sideways, not really doing much, so I'm not really worried about this. This is not really showing much for the markets. We need to break past 13.28 to turn back to bullish on the VIX. So far, it's just lackluster trading sideways as the market's showing signs of upside. The 10-year Treasury yield is dipping because of Jerome Powell's speech and also because of the Fed. So this is what's helping the market feel higher. And then we have the dollar index that's rejecting off this 106 area, which is looking kind of weak. That's why the market's also pushing. So right now, technicals remain bullish for Tesla SPY and the overall market, and there is more upside potential. Will the upside continue going for the next couple of weeks? That depends on different factors. For Tesla, look for a big test at 250. We'll have to see how Tesla reacts, and overall technicals look more bullish. Tomorrow is going to be the 4th of July, so the stock market is going to be closed. So I'll give you guys one more quick update about Friday, at least maybe for tomorrow. Until then, I will conclude the video from here. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll give you guys one more video tomorrow to talk about the 4th of July and some other things. And until then, I just want to say I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your guys' comments down below. And I really just want to say it means a lot to me to see people making money, people who find value in my analysis. And I want to continue to do what I do for free as long as I possibly can. So really, guys, I really, really appreciate you guys so much. Please have a great weekend. Enjoy the 4th of July holiday that's coming up very soon. And I can't wait to see how things end up going, at least for the markets moving forward. All right. Thank you and peace out.